So welcome to our functional fitness class, part of our Grow with GoGo series. Before we get moving, just a quick reminder of what else GoGo offers. So in addition to these classes, you can access rides, meals, groceries, medication delivery, and home services. So home services being anything you need done in or around your house, shoveling snow, moving leaves, changing light bulbs, whatever you need. You can access all of this by calling one number, and that phone number is 855-464-6872. Also, a reminder that we have a referral program. So there's a code at the bottom of your GoGo receipts. If you give that code to a friend, once they've taken their first service with GoGo, you will both receive $10 in credit. We have a Facebook group, so if you ever want to continue any of our conversations on that we're having now online, you can find us on Facebook or maybe see how other people are using GoGo. We'll share a link in the chat to our Facebook group. All right, and then finally, if we haven't met, I'm Adra. I teach the yoga and the functional fitness classes here at GoGo. What do we need today? So our functional fitness class is primarily standing. So if you've been to our yoga class, that class is a little bit less intense. It's mostly seated. It's more relaxed and stretchy. Our functional fitness class, we do sit here and there sometimes. You can always modify if needed, but this class is a little bit more active. We use some light weights if you have them. So I have some 3-pound dumbbells. You could grab 1 to 3-pound dumbbells if you have them. If you don't have them, what can you grab? Cans, water bottles. You can also move through a lot of our movements without any weight at all, and that's totally reasonable. You can just imagine that you're lifting something, and that can be plenty of work. So no worries if you don't have that. We also often use wall space. So if you have wall space available, it's usually for balance, or sometimes I give you options of having your back against the wall. But the wall space is less important than having your chair, and then maybe your weights or just your imaginary weights, just having those imaginary weights there for you. If you're new, we do this thing called the fitness move of the week. So every Wednesday, not on Fridays, but every Wednesday, I give you a move that you have to remember for a couple of weeks. We don't have one because the move of the week that I gave you guys last week is for yoga. So that's for next time. And since I was traveling, there is no move for today. So I'll give you a new move today. If that made no sense, don't worry about it. Ignore it. There's no move to share for today because Carol was teaching when I was gone. I think that's everything. I should be coming up here nice and big on your screen. If I am not, then you can adjust your settings. What you'll do is you'll move your cursor to the top right-hand corner of your Zoom screen, and a box will pop up that says View. If you change it to Speaker View, you'll see me nice and big. If it is at Gallery View, you'll see everybody. Just sometimes your settings will override the settings that we try and provide you with. So just know that you might need to adjust if I haven't come up in big. A reminder that this is your time, your practice. So be kind to your body. You are responsible for your safety. Skip things if they don't feel good. Add things if you want. Let's take some big shoulder rolls back. And let's take some big shoulder rolls forward. And then letting those arms rest down by your side for a moment. Let's inhale, circle the arms out to the side and up towards the ceiling. Exhale, arms lower back down. Inhale, circle out and up. Exhale, back down. A few more times. And then letting those arms relax. Let's do a little knee bends here. So keeping those feet facing forward, we'll bend the knees, lift the shoulders up towards the ears as you inhale. And then exhale, straighten the legs, let the shoulders drop. So feet are facing forward. We bend the knees track forward, shoulders lift. And then straighten the legs, shoulders drop. Inhale as you bend, shoulders lift. Exhale as you straighten, shoulders drop. Keep going. All right, letting those legs straighten, shoulders relax. Let's do some side bending. So bending side to side, letting those arms reach down one leg and then down the other. You can keep those arms relaxed, or if you'd like to add on, you could reach one arm up as the other arm reaches down. So just intensifying the stretch. Only adding that reach if it feels good. If it doesn't feel good, don't do it. And that goes for everything in class today. So bending the elbows 90 degrees, and then soften the knees as well. So a little bend in the knees. Imagine that you're squeezing some block between the knees. So the knees aren't going to touch, but you're going to imagine that you're holding something between the knees. Lower body stays completely still as you twist just your upper body. So we're really trying to get that rotation in the middle spine, middle and upper spine, and not the lower part of the spine. So we're trying to keep the pelvis still, which will help keep the low back out of it and allow the mid back to rotate. And then coming to center, letting those arms relax. Let's take those feet a little wider. Let's take them wider than the shoulders. Toes can point forward or just slightly out to the side. We're going into a set of squats. So we'll bend the knees, reach the arms forward or maybe up, and then straighten the legs and lower the arms. Hips go back in our squats. So we inhale, bend the knees. I'm just turning sideways so you can see, and straighten. Inhale, we bend. Exhale, we straighten. Couple more. We're just warming up the body. All right. And then let's bring those legs back to center. Shake it off. And let's make our way behind our chair. If you can't get behind your chair, find a wall or a table or a counter, something to hold on to. You can face the screen. I'm just going to face sideways. It tends to make it easier for you to see. So hands on your support. Chair, wall, table. Let's take those feet together. So with those feet together, see if you can maintain your balance and maybe let go of your support. If you're able to maintain your balance, letting go of the support, and you want a little more challenge, go ahead and close your eyes. So we'll just have a brief appreciation of how much our eyes are involved in our balance. So suddenly with the eyes closed, you might find that there's a little sway, a little shift. That's totally normal. That's okay. And then go ahead and open up those eyes again. Fingertips back to the chair. We'll go into a tandem stance. So right foot goes in front of the left. standing on a tightrope. If this is not possible for you, turn your feet out a little bit. So I'll show you, right? This is me on a tightrope. You can turn your feet out and maybe you're on a balance beam instead. So you're giving yourself a wider base of support if having one foot in front of the other is too challenging. From there, you're holding on with two hands or one hand or one finger or no hands. Make this challenging. So challenging enough that it maybe feels a little bit hard, but not so hard that you're going to hurt yourself. So it's okay if you fall out of the pose and have to step out, or you have to suddenly grab on, as long as it's safe. Hands come back to the support and let's switch sides. So other foot goes in front. Again, we're going for the tightrope, but if the tightrope doesn't work, turn your feet out. It's okay. It's okay to turn those toes out. Find that challenge that works for your body today. And again, we're holding on. One hand or one finger or no hands. It's up to you. Find what works. Okay, and then hands come back to the chair, feet come together, shake it off. Okay, we're going into an upside down L position or chair dog. Hands stay on your support. You'll walk yourself back so that your torso comes towards parallel to the ground. It doesn't need to be perfect. Your torso can be up, that's totally fine. Your elbows can be straight or bent. What feels good to you is what you should do. Legs can be straight or bent. So find what works and hold several breaths. We're just getting a nice stretch here, noticing where you feel it in your body. Okay, and then coming up, walking yourself back up, releasing those arms, shake it off. All right, let's grab our weights. So if you don't have weights, again, you can grab cans, water bottles, or just imagine that you have something here to lift. We're going to do narrow. So we're going to do hammer curls, so narrow bicep curls, so where the palms are facing in, and then overhead press. We're keeping the elbows in for our overhead press versus going that out position. So we're not going through the cactus position. We're going to keep the arms inward or elbows close to each other. So grabbing those weights, or just imagine you're holding something, right? If you need to make this harder, you either pretend your weights are heavier than they are, or just pretend you're carrying something. We bend the elbows, pulling the hands towards the shoulders, then push the arms up overhead, and then re-bend and lower down. Now, as you do this, keep going. I'm going to take my jacket off so you can see this a little bit better. As you do this, I want you to make sure that your spine is not involved in the process, right? So you see here, my torso is not moving. My pelvis is not moving to reach the arms overhead. What I sometimes see is this, where the pelvis moves forward to bring the arms overhead, or where the spine moves, right? I'm back bending here to get that overhead. Try not to do that. We want to try and keep the whole body nice and still, except for the arms and the shoulders, making this a true arm and shoulder exercise and not a back movement or a pelvis movement. That's how we protect our spine and our back. Oftentimes we have injuries in our back because the back is so mobile in a couple of areas that the back moves instead of the parts that are stiffer that should be moving. Just a few more of these. All right. And let's go ahead and lower those down, put the weights off to the side. We're going to continue on with some balance, but start to focus on hip strength as we're balancing. Let's go ahead, I'll mirror you. We'll put the right hand on the chair. If you need to do something else, that's totally fine. Also, right hand could go on the wall or on a table. We're going to push down into that right leg and then lifting that left foot, so just the left toes are touching the ground, right? So that left foot is there for support, but not for weight bearing, if you can. Then from here, we're going to move the hip. So we're going to move that right hip to the right or towards your support, almost like you're sassy. You're really sassy. You're letting that hip jut out to the side. And then you're going to push that right foot into the ground so firmly that the hip comes up. Hoping you can see this. I'll come maybe a tiny bit closer. So we'll let that hip go out to the side. Most of that weight is on this leg, right? And then I'm pushing down into that right foot to pull the hip away. So you're seeing how my hip is moving here. Thinking about as much of the movement as possible happening in this hip, not on this side of the waist. So sometimes what I see is this, which is not bad. That's a great core exercise. But here we're really trying to work that hip. We can call this a hip listing, like a boat. So they're going out to the side and then back. Just do that a few times. And then if it feels okay, you're going to really push down into that foot. Hold. So you want to be in that lifted position. And then maybe that free foot, that left foot, comes off the ground. So we're really trying to put load on the hip and not make so many other parts of the body work. Go ahead and release the foot, shake it off. We're going to repeat that in a minute, but we'll go to the other side. I'm going to move my chair so that you can see. You could turn around, whatever you want. We're doing exactly the same thing on the other side. So left hand to your support. And again, if you need to do something else, no problem. Listen to your body. Right toes are just touching the ground. So I'm bending the knee. The foot is there for balance support, but not for weight bearing. We're moving this hip. So what's happening is the pelvis is moving about the thigh. So we're going to let the hip go out to the side and then pull the hip away from the chair. So that left hip goes out to the side and then we're pushing down into the standing leg or the supporting leg to pull the hip in. In a moment here, I think I have a model of a pelvis today with me. Sometimes it's not in my house, but I'll pull it out and I'll show you what's happening here. What we're doing is we're moving our pelvis around the thigh. So we often move our thighs, our legs, our leg bone through the pelvis, but sometimes we also want to be able to move that pelvis around the thigh. That made no sense. I'll show you visually here in a second. Let's go ahead and push down into that left foot, pull the hip in, hold. Maybe you can float your other foot. So we're really trying to get that load into the hip. And release, shake it off. Go ahead and move into an upside down L. Hands on your chair, walk yourself back. I'm going to grab my pelvis model while you stretch. All right, and then walk yourself back up. So I know not all of you can see this because some of you are on a phone. So if you can't see it, don't worry about it. You could Google this later, what a pelvis looks like, and your femur bone. We're going to say this pen is our femur bone and this is our pelvis. These are our hip sockets. This is the front of our pelvis and this is the back of our pelvis. That's our tailbone. So this would live like this. Okay, what we are doing here, if our leg bone is here, is moving. It's kind of funny to do, but we're moving the pelvis around. Our leg bone sort of goes out to the side, so the pen's not a great example. It would be a more curved thing, but the pelvis is moving around the leg bone. That's what we're doing in this exercise. When we're walking, what are we doing? We're mostly moving our leg bone within our pelvis. But it's good to be able to have that movement, that ability, and then also the ability to move the pelvis around the leg bone. Just since I had this with me, thought I'd show you. All right. We're going back to the first side and we're going to add on. So right hand on the chair. Of course, you need to do a different hand. That's not a problem at all. So right hand on the chair, we're focusing now on that standing right leg. And so we have maybe a better sense of what we're doing. The toes can stay down of that left foot, or if you want more challenge, you're gonna lift that foot off the ground completely, right? Find whatever challenge is right for you. So toes can be down or lifted. You're gonna let the hip go out to the side and then push down into the foot and lift back up. You're gonna do that just 2-3 times before I have you adjust. Now notice where your weight is on your feet when you're doing this, when you're letting that hip go out to the side and come back up. So on that standing right foot, is your weight forward? Is it back? Is it in the middle? Go ahead and pause, take a break. We're gonna stay with this side, but I'm gonna show you something with this side view. I want you to try and get your hips over the heels, this. So there's a shift really far forward. What is that doing? That's jamming our femur bone to the front of the hip socket. Does not feel good on the hips. That's where we sometimes get a lot of tearing of the cartilage at the front of the hips. So we want to bring those hips back, right? We want to activate the glutes. We want to get those muscles working. So when you're doing this swaying of the hips side to side, make sure you're not shoving your hips forward as you're doing it. One, you're not going to be able to move as far, and two, you're not working the muscles we want. So we want to try and get that weight back. Sometimes feels like you're going to fall back. If it feels like you're going to fall back, what do you need to do? You need to let your rib cage relax. Let your body come a little bit forward. Let your upper body relax, because if you're way forward like this and your spine is arched like this, when I pull my hips back, I'm going to fall back. What do I need to do? I need to just bring my upper body upright, which for most of us feels like we're hunching, but you're often not. So just bringing the upper body upright or slightly forward is going to help you get those hips back. Okay, a lot of explanation. Let's do this. A couple more. Hips go out to the side and back up. And again, now you could lift your other foot off the ground if you want more challenge. But we're really thinking now, can we get that weight back? Why else would we want to do this? So we want to work those glutes, but also it puts less pressure on the knees. When we're really far forward, the kneecaps can't relax because those quads are really pulling on them. So if we let those hips go back, maybe those kneecaps can relax a little bit. And go ahead and release, shake it off. Let's go to the other side. So we're holding on, other leg, other foot, other hand. We're holding on with the other hand. We're not holding on with the other leg. So other hand is holding on. Your right toes can be touching or up. It doesn't matter. Do a few normal, right? Just do a few where it feels natural to you. Notice where your weight is when you're doing these hip shifts or these hip lifts, where the hip juts out to the side and comes back up, where you're moving that pelvis about the leg bone. And then see if you can shift that weight more back so that we get a little more glute action, a little less quad work, a little less pressure on the knee. So going up and down from there. Let those ribs relax. So if you feel like you're falling backwards, let your upper body come forward. And think about 70% of your weight, at least 60, back on the heel. More weight back on the heel so that your toes are free to move. And why do we do that? So we can get those glutes to really do the work, and so that the front of the hip quad is not the main worker here. All right. Let's go ahead and come up, let that go, shake it off, grab your weights. We're doing our bicep curl or hammer curl with the overhead press, keeping it all narrow. So palms face in, we bend the elbows and then push the arms up towards the ceiling, then rebend and lower. Keep going. Couple more. Maybe one more. Okay, and then put those weights off to the side. We're gonna play with these hips just for one more set or one more round, and then we'll let it go. I know this sometimes can feel frustrating when there are so many little cues and minute things. So just bear with me. We'll move on here in a moment. So as we do this, we're remembering a couple of things, right? We're not letting those hips come forward. We want to let those hips go back. The glutes can work, right? So that's number one. Now we're going to add a little movement of the torso if you want. If you don't want, don't do it. So we've got our right hand on the chair. I'm going to move a little further from the chair because what's going to happen is I'm going to tip towards the chair. So right hand on the chair, standing on the right leg. We're going to maybe float that left foot off the ground. Float that left foot and push down into that right foot. So push down, find that action of pushing the foot down so the hip is pulling in. Stay there, or you're going to tip a little bit. Try not to bend at the waist, but you're just sort of going to tip. So your pelvis is continuing to move over the thigh bone towards the chair. So what's happening now? We're really working the hip more. Make sure that weight is slightly back. If this is easy, you could float your hand. It's probably not easy, but if it is, you could do that. Otherwise, please keep holding on. And then bring yourself back up. Foot comes down. Let's do that 2 more times. So we're holding on to the chair, right hand. Right foot pushes down. So you're pressing that foot down to pull the hip in. So we want that hip to be really activated. Make sure you're not thrusting those hips forward. Hips stay back. That left foot is coming off the ground. You can stay here. This is a ton of work already, right? All levels here. If you want more, then you can start to bend that right elbow and tip your body to the right. Notice that I'm not bending at the waist, right? I'm not curving. My body is moving at that same rate as my leg is moving. And coming up. Shake it off for a moment. And we do it one more time. Pushing down into that right foot, float the left. Maybe you stay here, thinking about getting that weight back. Almost so far back that you could lift your toes, right? So you could even try that if you wanted, just lift your toes. Can you do this? Keeping the ball of the foot, the heel down, but the toes up. That means your weight is back. Keep that, and then maybe you start to tip. If you don't want to tip, don't do it. There's something about the angle of my camera that makes it look like my left leg is back. It's not, it's just going directly out to this side. All right, coming up. Woo, shake it off. Let's go to the other side. And then we're done with that exercise for today. Left hand on your chair. We're standing on that left leg. We're pushing down into that left foot. Weight goes back. So there's a lot of balance here. There's a lot of hip work here. Feel free to stay here. We're only going to do this 3 times. If you want, you add the tip. You bend the elbow and let the torso tip to the side a little bit. But watching that your torso is long, we're really thinking it's that pelvis rolling over the thigh bone. Weight is back. Knees relaxed. Come on up. Relax for a moment. 2 more times, and then we're done with this. Left leg stands. We float the right foot. Weight is back on the heels, maybe so much that you could lift those toes. And then you're letting that torso go to the side as the leg goes out to the side if you want, right? We have all different levels here, and sometimes we have injuries and something's not going to work. That's fine. Skip it or go back to the earlier variation. Okay, we shake it off. Let's do it one last time. Standing on that left leg. Let the weight shift back. Try and relax that left kneecap. So try not to grip at the quad. Let the weight go back. If it feels like you're falling back, let your ribs relax. It's almost like you're letting your sternum drop. Let that sternum drop. And then side movement, bending your elbow. And then coming up, shake it off. Let's grab those weights. One more set of those hammer curls with the overhead press. We bend those elbows, weights go by the shoulders, we push the arms overhead, we rebend and lower. Keep going at your own pace, watching that your spine is not getting involved. Couple more. Maybe last one. Okay, take a little break. We're gonna do some side lunges. I'm gonna put my weights down for a second to take my socks off. I find that side lunges are a little slippery, so if you are on hardwood floor, I would take socks off unless they have grippers. If you're wearing sneakers, then you're fine, or if you're on carpet, you're probably fine. So weights can come up by the chest. Weights are optional, so if you don't want your weights, no need for them. Feet go wide, wider than the shoulders. And toes can point slightly out to the side or forward. It's up to you what feels good here, and you can play around. We're gonna bend one knee, let the hips go back. Torso can come forward, and then lift yourself back up. It's about whatever works for you. Doesn't matter how low you go as low as you want. We bend the other knee, hips go back, and come on up. I'm gonna show you a side view. We bend the knees. You see how my hips go back and my torso comes forward. Keep going. Let's do one more each side, or whatever you need to do to even yourself out, right to left. And then relax the arms, pull those legs back together, shake it off. Okay, so the next exercise for our arms, I find it's really fatiguing with the weights. So if you feel like you want to do this without weights, you can totally do that. You might start with the weights, but feel free to put them down at any point. Arms reach out towards the side. I'm not going directly to the side, I'm going just slightly forward. It just feels a little better on my body, so it's up to you. You could go straight out into a T and then lower the arms down. We go out and down with control. So there is no momentum here. We're slowly lifting and slowly lowering. If you need more challenge, you just imagine that you're lifting something really heavy, two really heavy suitcases with your arms straight, and then trying to drop them down as slowly and as quietly as possible without bending your elbows. Keep going. Now, of course, if you're feeling some strain, you can bend your elbows a little bit, right? So we could have a very soft bend. Yeah. If you bend 90 degrees, you could do that as well. That just makes it a lot easier. So just find that challenge that works for you. If you need to get rid of those weights and just imagine, totally fine. Neck is relaxed. Jaw is relaxed. Let's do maybe two more. Woo. Oh, take a little break. Maybe a few shoulder rolls back.
and forward. And let's go back to those side lunges. So weights come by the chest. If you have them, you don't need to use the weights. Feet go wide, wider than the shoulders. We bend one knee, hips go back. Straighten the leg, lift the torso. Other side. Really think about pushing the heel down as you rise. So as I straighten one leg, I'm pushing that heel into the earth. That push should get a little more glute activation, or that heel push should give you a little more glute activation. You can also think about, can those toes be really light? So they're just barely touching the ground. They're not gripping. Let's do a few more. And then when you're ready, come on up. Release, shake it off. All right, we're going back to those arm raises, or those delt raises. So deltoids are these muscles up here. They're primarily what is working. Arms reach out into a T position or slightly forward and then back down. Up and down. All right, maybe one more. Whew. Let those arms relax. Take a deep breath. We're gonna do one more side lunge, set of side lunges, and then one more set of arm raises. Weights come by the chest if you're using them. Feet go wide. We bend one knee, hips go back, and straighten. So one leg is straight, one knee is bent. Then we're just straightening and bending one leg, and then the other. Thinking about allowing the hips to go back, the weight to shift towards the heels so that the backs of the legs can work. Let's maybe do one more each side. Again, it's up to you how low you go, doesn't matter. And when you're done, coming up, and pulling those legs back towards each other, maybe shake them off for a moment. Okay, and last set of arm raises. Arms reach out towards that T position and then back down. We're trying not to use momentum. Again, if you don't have weights, just imagine. Imagine you do have weights and that you're really lifting something heavy and then really slowly lowering them back down. Breathe. Couple more. All right, and then letting that go. Let's put those weights off to the side. Shake out those arms. Let's do a quick stretch here. Bring that right arm in front of us and across the body. Use your other arm to pull that arm in. So we're just trying to stretch that shoulder. Watch that that shoulder doesn't creep up towards the ear. So the right shoulder moves down away from your right ear. Release and switch sides. Other arm comes forward and across. Use your arm to pull the other arm in. Shoulder moves away from the ear. Arms release. Let's go into one last upside down L position or chair dog. Hands find your chair, table, or wall. Walk yourself back into that upside down L position. If it feels comfortable here, let's go ahead and bend one knee and then the other. You're just finding a little movement here as you stretch. Again, everything still applies here that we've talked about before. Your knees can be bent or straight. Your arms can be bent or straight. Your torso can be parallel to the earth or lifted. You pick. You could also wag your tail a little right and left as you hold this stretch. Just 2 more breaths. And then lifting yourself back up, walking forward. Whew. Let's inhale, circle the arms out to the side, up towards the ceiling. Exhale, arms lower back down. 2 more. Inhale, circle out and up. Exhale, release. Last time. Inhale, circle out and up. And exhale, let it go. Awesome job, everybody. Thank you so much for being here. Let me give you the move of the week. So the move of the week is balancing on one leg. We did a lot of that and we did lots of variations of that. So as best you can and only if it is safe, find moments where you can just stand on one leg. You can be holding on while you're doing this and finding these moments, but find moments where you're standing on one leg. And then if you wanted, you can start to think about, where am I standing when I'm standing on one leg? So are you letting your weight shift forward, back to one side? But find moments where you're balanced. Walking is a series of balancing unless you're shuffling, right? So if we're shuffling, our feet are always on the ground, but if we're walking, there is a moment where one foot is off the ground and the other foot is supporting you, right? And so we have moments of balance. It's just when we're moving forward, it's much easier to maintain that balance when we're in motion. So finding those moments where you are in balance, maybe without motion. So finding those moments where you can hold on to a chair or your counter and stand on one leg. And if not, then just noticing those moments when you're walking and how you walk and how you balance as you walk. So balancing on one foot, that is your move of the week. I'm going to write that down. That is for functional fitness. So next week is yoga on Wednesday. So remember that. I'm going to write that down and then we'll open it up for any questions. All right. So if anyone has any questions about our yoga or a functional fitness class, now is the time to ask.
Adra, this is Carol. This is in general. I think I have finally put Senator Bernie to rest. After 4 calls to the Geek Squad, I think they have finally fixed my camera.
Oh, awesome. Excellent. Yeah, I did notice that I could see you most of class, so all of class.
I don't want to jinx myself, but
that's awesome. I'm glad that hopefully they've fixed it. Fingers crossed. And of course, if anyone doesn't have any questions or comments, you're welcome to pop off and leave. I just like to have this time available if you do have questions, thoughts.
Hey, Adrian, good to see you. I've got a question regarding the breathing. I I came in late, because this is my Wednesday and I got other things on my agenda. Um, for instance, like the arms going out from the side with the weights. Uh, I was breathing in whenever I was lifting, and then I was going down. So I guess it doesn't matter, but sometimes you would be specific about how you wanted us to breathe, and I didn't notice it as much today. So I didn't know if I just came in late or if you would, you know, tell us when to breathe sometimes on those, especially when you're doing weights or holding them and doing stuff, and rather than the breathing part. But I gotta breathe.
Yeah, so I usually in the functional fitness class, I do way fewer cues on the breathing, just because I want to focus more on the form because I'm more concerned about people being in like safe anatomical positions. When I don't specify the breathing, it usually means I don't mind. You can do whatever you want. So you could inhale on the way up, exhale on the way down, or you could exhale up or inhale down. If I had a specific goal in mind, then I would tell you to do the breathing in a specific way. There are pros and cons to every variation of breathing. So I'll tell you if I want something specific, and if I don't, it's because I just want you to focus more on the movement. And then I'll probably just remind you, which I think I did with the armless, is don't forget to breathe. Um, so that's why when I want it specific, I will say something.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and I am
Paul here. I've got a question.
Oh, go ahead.
Do you email stuff?
So I don't, but GoGo does. So GoGo does send an email every week, letting you know about the class, and then usually it gives you the calendar and then a link to our YouTube channel. Is there a specific thing that you're hoping to make sure you get?
No, I was just wondering if you sent out an email in addition to the one that you're referring to, but okay, you just answered that. So there you go.
Okay, awesome.
Good.
And then Miss Chloe, I see your comment in the chat. You're sending love, kindness to everybody, and hello.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Did you say at the beginning where you're from, where you're located right now?
Oh, yeah, I
Are
live
you allowed to?
Yes, I tell everyone. I don't tell you my address, but I live in
Oh,
San
sure.
Francisco.
What state are you in?
I'm in California. I'm in San Francisco.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
So yeah,
I'm
I made a comment that
What?
it's not sunny usually in San Francisco, but today
Yeah.
it.
I've been there one time,
Oh,
long
great.
time ago. It was fun. I'm in Maryland, and it's kind of chilly here right now and overcast, like San Francisco.
Um,
Thanks for your class. It was really great.
you are so welcome. Thanks for being
My
here.
first time, but I'll be back.
Excellent. Excellent.
Okay,
Glad
thank
you'll
you.
be coming back. Thanks, Kathy.
Uh-huh.
Okay, well, I will let everyone go. So Friday is yoga. Hopefully I see you there, and if not, I'll see you next week on Wednesday or Friday. Have a wonderful rest of the week, and I'll see you next time.